If I'm not mistaken, basically he was quoting what this Lord said, man. And he detonated the ICBM missiles, and they shot them up into the heavens, saying that those missiles were not going to reach the Tower of Babel, or the kingdom of heaven. Though they're shot from the Tower of Babel, that they shall not reach the kingdom of heaven. That's talking about you Edomites. What's going to happen here in America, man? The Lord's telling you that this is going to stop. All y'all's vain imaginations, all y'all's activities, y'all's programs that y'all got going on, y'all's heart program, the Project Blue Beam, that's all going to cease. Okay? It says, verse 26, again the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesied of the times that are far off. Therefore say to them, thus saith the Lord God, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I would have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord God. Because the Lord knows y'all's hearts, man. We know your hearts. We know y'all's mindset. And y'all think that the Lord is going to continue to prolong, and what we're talking to you about is going to it's not going to come to pass, man. Because y'all say, oh, we've heard that for years. You have, but that's the thing about the Lord, man. He's going to come on his own time. All right. I got another one. Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 12. It says, they have belied the Lord and said, it is not he, neither shall evil come upon us, neither shall we see sword nor famine. And the prophet shall become wind, and the word is not in them. Thus shall it be done unto them. Right? It's like y'all think the Lord ain't dealing right here in this little sanctuary, man. The scriptures say, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I'm in the midst of them. But y'all people have a misconception of what the Lord, how the Lord really works, man. Okay? But that's y'all's mentality. Is that y'all think that evil's not going to come upon you. That you're not going to experience evil. That martial law is not going to come to America. That America's not going to fall. America's already crumbling, man. Just like the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, they all fell. They were at a high paramount at one time, and now they're at the bottom. They don't exist no more. You know? Because that was prophesied in the scriptures, man. The Lord killeth and maketh alive, man. He set up kings and puts down kings. All right? So, verse 14, Jeremiah 5 and 14. Wherefore thus saith the Lord, power of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. So it's going to prosper, man. It may not be touching you right now, but eventually you're going to remember. All right? You're going to remember. The Most High is going to activate your memory to where you're going to be like, hey, man, I remember when that man was telling me that stuff, man. I remember when he was telling me to get right. I remember when he was telling me, hey, destruction was coming to America. That martial law was going to be pushed. That the RFID was going to be put out. All right? And that's another thing that a lot of these churches, they don't talk about. A lot of these churches are under what they call a 501c3 act. Because they're tax exempt. So if they're tax exempt, the government basically tells them what they can and can't preach. So they're not going to tell you what the mark of the beast is. Okay? When the Bible says we got to be not ignorant in the small or great matters. And we got to push this truth 100%. Just like John the Revelator, he what did he do? The angel of the Lord commanded, hey, eat that whole roll. Talking about the scriptures, not nitpick. Because that's what the majority of the people do. They nitpick out of the scriptures. They chew the corners off the Bible, man. They don't want to eat the whole thing. But part of pushing this truth is talking about that RFID chip, man. The mark of the beast. And the churches, they don't do that. They don't tell y'all people what the mark of the beast is. During the time of Noah, man, Noah was speaking about everything, man. He was getting down, man. Noah was on fire. You know? And that mark at that time was just being complete ignorant, man, and wicked. In that time, man, they were just, their mind wasn't right. I'm gonna start at 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. I'll start at verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you. Right, and during the time of Noah, there was false prophets speaking their own visions, prophesying peace. Like the Lord said, man, there's no there's no new thing underneath the heaven. All right, so everything was happening, man. During the time of Noah, people were rising up against him, telling him he was a liar, telling Noah that what he was speaking about wasn't going to happen, trying to diminish his faith. But Noah continued to be bold and strong, man. It says, but there were false prophets also among the people, even like in this time, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them. Right, because one way you can deny the Lord is that saying that he ain't gonna come back. Another way to deny the Lord is not accepting the man that's coming out to the highways and the hedges, prophesying to you people, man. So that's how a lot of you people, y'all, even though you're not in the church, you could be considered a false teacher or prophet just by speaking one false word, man, by rising up against the truth. That's why the Lord says, if you don't have that certain knowledge, put your hand over your mouth. Hear, listen before you speak. Rebuke. Hear, listen before you rebuke, man. It says, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And y'all don't consider that. Y'all just worried about filling your own belly, getting your point across, acting like you've made a point to society, that by you making your point or sharing your opinion, that somehow it's gonna sway me to your way of thinking. No, man, it's not gonna happen. You know, my mind's closed, and it's in this truth, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's not open to these false philosophies and to you people out here no more, man. I'm not tossed to and fro like a child no more. The scriptures say, when I thought as a man, when I was a child, I thought as a man, man. Let me go ahead and get that script. First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. It says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And the childish thing that it's talking about is by believing every word that person speaks. Like a woman is always drawn to a man's words, man. You know, she can have a husband, but a man can come by and just speak sweet words to her, and she's drawn away. All right, that's how a man of the Lord is supposed to be. He's going to be closed-minded to the rest of these ideologies. We can hear them out, because we know that we ain't going to be sucked into that bullshit. So we're gonna hear y'all what y'all gotta say, but then we're gonna come back to the scriptures. We're gonna prove all things to the scriptures. Okay? It says, for now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. So now our eyes have been wiped clean, and we can see, man. We see truth for what it is, and we see what falsification for what it is, man. Lies for what it is. You know? And that's what it's speaking about. For we see now through a glass darkly, but then face to face, now I know in part. And you know, now I know in part. What the Lord has granted me, I know what I know. And I share it. I feed the flock. You know? Like Yahweh Shai told Peter, doest thou love me? Thou lovest me? He asked him 3 times, man. He said, feed my flock, feed my sheep, feed my lambs. Talking about who? The elect. That's who we're feeding, man. To the rest of you, we're just harping that trumpet to you, man. We're just being a sign right now. We ain't feeding you, you know. But that fear could be some form of food, like a strong herb that you needed to rejuvenate and bring you back to life. And after that, you continue to do. You feed off the sincere milk, man. You know? It says, going back to 1 Corinthians 12, 13 and 12, it says, for now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. Right, so we're going to abide in it, man. Through the Spirit of the Lord, we're going to continue abiding in this truth and break all strongholds, you know. And Lord will, if there's any more, any elect, which there ain't no elect here in St. Angelo, man. Everybody's done here. Been out here 7 years, ain't nobody come, man. You know. And then I remember this one individual came up talking about, where's your fruit at? Talking about with people. The majority of the people in the churches, they're committing wickedness, man. And you're supposed to get rid of leavened bread. Anything that brings in forth leavened bread, you're supposed to get rid of it, man. Wickedness, you're supposed to get rid of it. You're supposed to cut it out. The majority of the people in the church, they're steadily committing wickedness, man. You know, the Lord is not going to allow his sanctuary to be defiled, man. Eventually, he's going to get them out. There's one scripture that came to mind right here in Jeremiah. So I can give it a second. It says, Jeremiah 23 and 14, it says, I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, and that none doeth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. So the majority of the people that are in these churches, man, they're complete wicked. They're wicked. And they ain't turned from their wickedness. They're still continuing doing the same old shit that they were doing. The only thing that makes them seem like they've changed because they got a little bit of more money. They may have got a better job, you know, but that's about it. They ain't reading the scriptures. They ain't doing what the Lord has commanded them to do according to the scriptures. It's like the Lord says that that is here the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and obey his commandments. They ain't doing that in the churches, man. They worship idols. You know. They lukewarm. They got 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in the so-called church, which they ain't never left the world. Because that's part of leaving the world, man, is leaving these churches. You got to leave these churches, man. You got to put off that old man. You got to put off that old knowledge. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and he said that you're like, and because you're that way, you're as Sodom and Gomorrah unto him, man. Hey, and what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? They received fire. They were destroyed by fire, man. All right. Going back to 2 Peter 2 and 2, it says, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. Right. Y'all speak evil of his word, man. Y'all speak evil of the brethren that are on the highways and the byways. All right. You speak badly upon us. You wish bad upon us. You know, which the Lord commanded us to come out to the highways and the hedges and to instill that fear, to persuade men, knowing the terror of the Lord. But you have a problem because it's coming from a certain man. You know, Yahweh Shai said that a prophet is not accepted in his own land or his country, by his own countrymen, man. You know. Verse 2 Peter 2 and 3, and through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you. Right, like you try to come up here and clown and be an agent, gain information, so you can go and talk about us, act like you're cool with us, or cool with me. Hey, I ain't dumb, man. I know about y'all. Because the Lord told me that you're going to feed me, you're going to clothe me. You know? You're going to visit me in jail. You're going to do all these things for me to see that you're a real person that's down. You people ain't doing that. You know? says, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. Right. And all those people during the time of Noah that were cool with him, that they accepted Noah, but they weren't really taking. You can accept a brother. You can accept another brother, man, and follow behind another brother, piggyback, hide behind brothers and this, that, and the third. But that's not what's gonna save you, man. What's gonna save you is you doing your own work. The scriptures say, seek out thy own salvation with fear and trembling, man. So there was people in the time of Noah that were cool with him, that were smiling at him, go home and talk about him. Maybe it was for good, maybe it wasn't. The point was that they weren't sealed up. And like the scripture said with fin words, right, meaning that you were false, man. You weren't real. And just being that, putting on that facade is what's gonna get you marked, man. I'm telling you, the Lord is bad. The Lord is not gonna let you people go. The Lord is not gonna let you people escape. Let me get another script. This is Sirach, chapter 16, verse 17. Say not thou, I will hide myself from the Lord. Shall any remember me from above? I shall not be remembered among so many. I shall not be remembered among so many people. For what is my soul among such an infinite number of creatures? Right, so the Lord is saying that you're not going to escape, man. You cannot escape the eyes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Every person is going to be held accountable to the Lord, man. You're going to have to give an account of what you've done here on the earth, man. Say not thou, I will hide myself from the Lord. Shall any remember me from above? I shall not be remembered among so many people. Right, but check it out. The Lord's telling you, you ain't going to escape, man. The Lord's got you marked, man. The Lord has the angels watching you, and he got us on the highways and the byways watching you, man. Okay? Scripture, you know what? I'm going to get that one in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. It says, Wisdom of Solomon. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 4. I'll start at verse 6. For wisdom is a loving spirit and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For the Most High is witness of his reins and a true beholder of his heart and a hearer of his tongue. So the Lord ain't going to allow you to escape, man. You can hide amongst the rubble. You can hide amongst in the trees, the mountains. You can dig yourself an underground bunker. You can hide out of the space in the waters. Most High is still going to find you out. He knows you, man. He created you. All right. It says, for the Spirit of the Lord filleth the world, and that which containeth all things hath knowledge of his voice. Right, man. So the Lord created all this, man. So he knows where everything is. He knows where every tree is. He knows that he has a star's name. Come on, man. Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid. Neither shall vengeance, when it is punished, pass by him, man. You're not going to escape, man. Even though there's an infinite, like the scriptures say, Sirach, infinite amount of people, infinite number of creatures, you're not going to be forgotten, man. Every creature, every person that's on the earth, the Lord knows, man. He's known you. He knows his work, man. Whether it's good or bad. The Lord's not like men. He's not slack like men, man. Says, Wisdom of Solomon 1:9, for inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly, And the sound of his word shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. Right. So you're going to be held accountable, man. For every idle word you people speak, whether you utter it from your tongue and made known, your mind is also what's going to condemn you, man. Because everything is conceived up in the mind. Then it's uttered through the mouth. It comes forth through the mouth. So whether you let it come out of that mouth, you're still condemning yourself because of what you're thinking in your mind. So there's no escaping it, man. It says, for the ear of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of murmurings is not hid. Therefore beware of murmuring, which is unprofitable, and refrain your tongue from backbiting, for there is no word so secret that shall go for naught, and the mouth that belieth slayeth the soul. Right, man. So, hey, man, the Lord got you, man. The Lord got you marked. Whether you want to utter it or you just by thinking it, man. Your mind's got you. All right. Going back to 2 Peter 2 and verse 4. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Right, man. And then, so what? Noah was going off? Noah was a bad man? You know? Whatever you see the men of the house and the Bible doing, that's what the old prophets were doing. You know? So those that hate us, y'all hated the former prophets. Y'all hated the prophets of old. Because everything, there is a such thing called as reincarnation, man. Is the break down that word, is to come back. Carnation goes back to the Latin word "carne," which means of flesh. So you're brought back into the flesh. Your spirit, when you die, your spirit goes back to the Father. You receive your judgment. And you come down to the earth and play it out. It's a continual cycle, man. Ecclesiastes speaks about this, man. Chapter 1. There is a such thing as called reincarnation in the scriptures, man. So the people that have a problem with the men that are in the highways and the byways, y'all had a problem with the former prophets of old, because they spoke the same thing. Noah brought in the damnation unto the ungodly with the flood. It says, Jeremiah 28 and 8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And that's what it is, man. The prophets are the ones, the men of the Lord are the ones that are ushering in the kingdom of heaven. You know? We're the front men of Yahweh Shai. We're put out on the front lines, man. You know? Watching, you know, observing. It's like I was saying, man, the Lord knows all things. He got the angels. He got the men of the Lord watching too. Remembering. You know? This is a serious thing, man. Everything was written for our learning, man. To draw you away from destruction, man. To bring you to salvation. You know? But y'all didn't want it, man. Y'all despised it. Alright? This is another scripture. This is Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. Right, so the Lord is telling you, man, that because you reject this knowledge, he's going to reject you. He ain't with you, man. Alright? You fall out, he ain't with you. You give up, he ain't with you. Alright? It says, Hosea 4:7, as they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. Right? You went from shame to glory, back to shame. You know? You got to continue to go from glory to glory, not from glory to shame, or glory to shame. You got to go from glory to glory, man. You got to keep doing this work. Continue just constantly growing in the spirit, man. Because that's the thing. That's what's gonna bring deliverance. Is exercising the spirit, man, not the flesh. The flesh is gonna be destroyed, man. The common cold is strong enough to bring the strongest man on the earth to his knees, man, to weaken him. You know, it's the spirit that what needs to be fed, man. And that's what the brother Akim, that's what we do, and continue to do it, man. Keep pushing that truth, man. You know, just being out here, man, is looking at all these, everything that I see, man. All this is gonna be destroyed, man. I'm gonna look back a few days from now. If the Lord if things were to happen right now, I'm gonna remember this place as being a certain way, and it's gonna be just completely desolate. You know, it's gonna be utterly wasted, man. It's lucky. You know. Going back to Hosea 4:8, they eat up the sin of my people, and they set their heart on their iniquity. Right, and that's where y'all's heart's at, man. Your heart is not did not store up treasure in heaven, man. Y'all weren't storing up the treasure, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, man. Putting in work. Y'all's heart was set upon iniquity here on earth, man. Being rebellious, backbiters, you know, just doing all forms of wickedness, man. That's that in your heart. Where your heart's set at, that's where like the scripture said, where your heart set, that's where you're gonna be. You know, and that's where the majority of the people on this earth, their heart is set on this earth. Let me go ahead and get that, man. This is in the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that the Most High maketh from the beginning to the end. Right, so, hey, man, that's where y'all's heart is set upon iniquity, man. Carnal, temporal things, man. Things that are not going to be beneficial to you. Okay? It says, Ecclesiastes 3:12. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of the Most High. I know that whatsoever the Most High doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And the Most High doeth it, that men should fear before him. Right, so the Most High is about to make himself known here in the land of America, man, when he starts destroying it. Yeah, you can eat, you can make your money and this, that, and the third, but that's not the whole point. The Lord put you on the earth to be a man of the Lord, man. To do the work. To stand up for righteousness. To present your body as a living sacrifice. Not to live it up. Yeah, okay, it's a gift. If you receive that, it's a blessing. But hey, man, there's more to it. Because that's going to be your last. It says, go back to Ecclesiastes. Verse 15, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath been already. And God required that which is past, man. So, hey, whatever you did here in your life, he's going to require it. All right? That's why I keep saying that you're all held accountable to y'all's actions, to y'all's words. All right? So, that which is of past, you see. And Yahweh required that which is past. So, you know, because your heart was set in the world. So, hey, man, you're gonna have to be paid for that ignorance, man. Because we're out here, man. The men of the Lord, we're out here telling you the truth. You know, we're not coming out here with nice suits on, with the tie and clean shaven. You know, putting on a show. We're out here just being rugged and raw, man. we're doing according to the scriptures. Got our facial hair on, our beards. Like the scriptures say, you can't put no razor up to your face. Wearing the garments, man, to represent the law, statutes, and commandments. Got the 12 tribe sign. That's made out of wood. That's prophesied in the book of Ezekiel. You know, that's what it is, man. And that's how it's got to be done. There's no other way. We ain't trying to draw you in with some kind of show. Trying to be clever and oh, we need to bring in more people. No, man, the Lord is the one that's gonna bring you in. You know? This is let me see. Well, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 12. It says, now this I say, that every one of you saith, I am of Paul, and I am of Apollos, and I of Cephas with Peter, and I of Christ. Is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you, or were you baptized in the name of Paul? But basically, what it's saying is that we're all one body, man. So the Lord is going to draw you in, man. He's going to draw you into that one body. All right? It has nothing to do with no show or anything of that nature, man. It's not going to be fabricated, you know, premeditated. I'm trying to find this one script, man. I can't find it though. It's basically the one where it says that Paul and Apollos, one watereth and another planteth, but it's the Lord that increases, man. So that's the point of the Lord, man, is that he's the one that's gonna bring you in. You know, there's no other way. This is John chapter 6, verse 44. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. So it's Yahweh Shai is that what's gonna draw you in, man. You know, has nothing to do with no show, looking good out here, or being real eloquent. You know, having a good speech. It's about just following the Spirit, man. You know, there in the land, we're going to be speaking stammering lips, be stuttering, tripping up on our words. You know. We'll read it again. John 6 and 44. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him.